We start. Yes. Requesting all to sit with your spine erect, bring the shoulders proper, keep your chin parallel to the floor. We'll start with the chantings of Omkar. Very slowly, peacefully inhale. Nice. Thank you, friends. Last class, we had completed the understanding of Shambhavi with respect to Samadhi. And today we are going to start with the understanding of Khechari. So coming to the shlok number 43 of the fourth chapter, Atha Khechari, how to get into the understanding of doing Khechari Mudra towards attainment of Samadhi. So he is giving us an understanding. Savya Dakshina Nadi Stho Madhya Charati Maruta. He is again giving us the mapping that there is one left nostril, there is one right nostril, and between the two there is Sushumna. Tishthate Khechari Mudra Tasmin Sthane na Samshayah. If a person is getting established in the body in which the prana is changing its course from the left nostril and the right nostril and becoming active in the middle one, that is known as being in Khechari. That is Khechari Mudra. So this Khechari Mudra is no doubt when established in the body, wherein the prana is or the maruta is turning its course. Earlier it was dominant in either right or left nostril, and now it is completely beyond that. It is in the middle one, that is Sushumna. Now here there is no explanation of the technique which we had gone through in the third chapter of mudras, in which we were told that for the practice of Khichari Mudra, you should elongate your tongue, you should cut the frenum, you should take your time, almost 6 months, to bring about this kind of changes. And as the tongue is inserted into the nasopharyngeal tract, you will be absorbing the whole Shira, which is coming down through the Chandra in the Mastishka. It is taken up by the tongue, and the whole body is indestructible. It becomes strong. It is possessing that strength which allows an individual to go beyond the material aspects towards the spiritual. Uh, uh, Sunil bhai, kindly mute your side of mic.
Sorry. Yeah.
Now, with this brief introduction about Khechari that we understood in the previous chapter, here it is clarified that having stopped the functioning of Ida and Pingla and activating the Sushumna, the prana which has activated the Kundalini. So, what remains now active in Khechari is the Sushumna Nadi. That is Khechari Mudra. And in the next one, it is said, Ida Pinglayor Madhye Shunyam Cha Eva Anilam Graset Tishtate Khechari Mudra Tatra Satyam Punaha Punaha. When the Shunya, that is the Sushumna, between Ida and Pingla, has seized the prana, understand that it is the establishment of Khechari. Khechari means what? Wandering in the sky. Khe is the sky, the space. And chari means to wander, to roam, or to travel. Now, what is traveling towards the space? What is traveling towards the upward side? It is the prana. That means along with the kundalini as it is being raised up. It says this is the truth. This again is the truth. Take note of it. सूर्य चंद्रमासोर मध्ये निरालंब अंतरम पुनः निरालंब अंतरे पुनः संस्थिता व्योम चक्रे या सा मुद्रा नाम खेचरी. Again, this mudra, of which the seat is in Vyoma Chakra. Vyoma Chakra means the highest center or the highest energy center or the highest center for understanding the concept of the ultimate truth, the reality, or the place where one should be completely focused and do meditation upon. And this place is none but the topmost chakra of the Sushumna Nadi. And that topmost chakra of the Sushumna Nadi is none other than the Ajna Chakra. So here, the mudra of which the seat is the Vyoma Chakra, that is the Ajna Chakra, the highest center between Ida and Pingala, that is where when you get stationed, it is known as Khechari. When we say about the word Niralamba Antare, Niralamba Antare is used as a synonymous of Sushumna. Surya and Chandra are right and left respiratory passages, and because of their cessation, the seat of Khechari in a spot where is the highest point, and letting our mind to be focused on it, to be concentrated on it, for the happening of the Khechari or for the doing of the Khechari. So the one which is without any material support is your Sushumna Nadi. Now, in some books of Hatha Pradipika, in the translation by Kaivaladham, in the note which is given there, instead of Sushumna, it is written Surya. So if that correction is not done there, please do it. Where it says in this verse, the Niralambantare is used as a synonymous of Surya, but it is not the synonymous of Surya, but it is the synonymous of Sushumna. Soma Adya Tra Udita Dhara Sakshat Sa Shiva Vallabha Purayed Tulam Divyam Sushumnam Paschime Mukhe. When the stream, that is Ganga, dear to Shiva, flows from the moon, and the unique divine Sushumna is filled from the posterior side. Soma Adyatra Udita. This is nothing but the secretion of the nectar which is getting released from the Chandra, which is being stationed in the Mastishka. Dhara Sakshat Sa Shiva Vallabha. This is very dear to Lord Shiva, as the strava from the moon is flowing. It is like the stream of Ganga. And it says, Purayed Tulam Divyam Sushumnam Paschime Mukhe. This means the whole Sushumna Nadi, right from the Bhrumadhya to from the top to the bottom, is filled with this experience of release of the Chandrastrava, or the nectar which is oozing and coming into and spreading throughout. What do we understand? Is it truly happening like this? It is a gesture, it is an understanding that the Sushumna is completely filled. If I would like to explain this in a practical form, I would just tell you to let your mind to become ekagra in between your eyebrows and try to experience that ultimate light, the Jyoti which we were talking about as the light of consciousness, the luminosity, the clarity, the truth, which is beyond Sattva and the ultimate one. As you're focusing in between your eyebrows, initially just imagine it to be the light of a lamp. And slowly, slowly, this luminosity of the lamp is going on increasing and spreading and becoming more and more expanded. And in its light, you cannot see anything else but the light itself. Everything else is taken care of. That means this light is so much on your indriya, so much on your understanding of the external world that it is completely blocked because of this light. What you can see is only light. And this light is none other than the Maheshwara that we were talking about in the morning Bhagavad Gita class. The same thing here we need to understand that once you are experiencing the release of the strava or the amruta from the Chandra, it is spreading through the Sushumna. That means it is spreading throughout the body. That light has spread throughout the body. And what you're experiencing is nothing else beyond that light or beyond that experience of the Amruta, because that is the ultimate experience. So, as this has been explained, this is a conceptual understanding that we have to bring it into the truth of practice. How, whenever, whatever we practice, we should go beyond the physical or the bodily understanding of that practice, like experiencing benefits, experiencing therapeutical benefits, experiencing the feeling of goodness towards the body, experiencing relaxation towards the body. But what about going beyond that? Friends, the concept of Pratyeka Chetana and Paranga Chetana has been discussed in Yoga Sutra. With the practice of simple Omkar Japa Sadhana, it is said in Yoga Sutra, Tataha Pratyeka Chetana Adhikamaha Api Antaraya Abhavascha. You will be losing the contact or the experiencing of the Chitta Vikshepa or the Antarayas, the obstacles which are keeping you in the experience of the pain or the pleasure, also, you can say, which is also coming in the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. When we will be studying the Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, we will be understanding the concept of the gunas. And when we talk about Gunatita, after explaining the three gunas, its attributes, and how a person with a different type of gunas is existing on this earth, after understanding that, we are also going to understand in the 14th chapter about the Gunatita, the one who is beyond the gunas. And in that beyond the gunas, the Pratyak and the Parang aspect of the gunas are also understood. Parangata is being in the external attributes of the gunas, and Pratyakta is that of the Sattva Guna which leads you towards the truth, which is beyond the experiencing of Sattva also, where you have to drop the Sattva also. So here the filling of the Sushumna with this kind of gesture of the strava from the moon and completely filling the Sushumna is nothing but the experience of complete delineation from the external aspect and becoming one with the spiritual aspect. So that is what I was giving the references of Bhagavad Gita as well as the experience of Yoga Sutra, and trying to connect your understanding with respect to the Yoga Sutra, and that too with the Hatha Yoga point of view, that too with the Kundalini and the Shiva point of view. So as we are understanding this, he says, when the Sushumna is filled with the nectar from the anterior side also, Purasta Chaiva Purayet Nishchita Khechari Bhavet. Purasta cha iva Puryet Nishchita Khechari Bhavet. Abhyasta Khechari Mudra Api Unmani Samprajayate. When the Sushumna is filled with nectar, Now, Sushumna is something which is at the posterior. Now, from the anterior side also means what? It is spreading throughout the body. From the posterior, it has taken course throughout the body. Now, you will say, Sabir, Sushumna is existing only in the posterior. How come the Chandra is spreading to the anterior? Just understand this to be the conceptual science where Sushumna may be the spinal cord, and the spinal cord consisting of, this is just an imaginary understanding, huh? Not the truth where you will get the explanation about the same analogy in any other text, just an understanding. The spinal cord, which is connected to the brain, passing through the spinal column, with every vertebrae, between every vertebrae, through that foramina, the nerves coming out. Some nerves are coming out from the cervical region, some nerves are coming out from spinal cord is connected to each and every part of the body, each and every minute region of the body. And we all are having such kind of sensory and motor nerves. Even a slight prick at any region of our body makes us to understand that sensation in our brain. That means our sensory and motor nerves are very much into functioning, and they are making us realize that you are experiencing this externally. Now he says, let the senses be taken control, whether it is Pancha Jnanendriya or Pancha Karmendriya. Today itself in the morning, as we were understanding the Kshetra and the Kshetratnya, in the Kshetra itself we came across the 10 senses, Dasha Indriya. The 5 senses, your ears, eyes, nose, huh, tongue, as well as the skin. What about the actions which are instilled because of this Indriya's attachment and brought about the changes? Those are the other organs of action, your hands, your legs, your speech, your Janendriya, your Utsarjan Kendriya. All these are making the actions possible. Now just imagine, if the Pancha Jnanendriya are brought under control, Pancha Karmendriya are also brought under control. What does that mean? You are becoming internalized. What does that mean? The Chandra Strava which has come to the Sushumna has spread to the every nook and corner of the body, and they have all become internalized. The explanation is going here in this manner. So probably, so Atmaramji means Sushumna is filled with nectar from the backside by what he calls as the layer of prana in the Brahmarandra through the Sushumna. But when we talk about the prana flowing in the front side also, which is the sure indication of the success in Khechari Mudra. That means what is Khechari Mudra? That which divides you or completely disconnects you from everything that is material and makes you internal. That is Khechari. That is what is takes you beyond. You know, when we will be learning this Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga in the next class, most probably, how Tamasikta is connected to earth, how Rajasikta is middle, how Satvikta is to the higher platform. These three gunas explanation we will be getting in the next class from the Asha madam. And as she will be explaining to us, we will be connecting to these aspects here also. That with Khechari, the word concept itself, we are going from the Tamasikta, from the Rajasikta, beyond into Sattva, and maybe beyond that too. So here with Khechari, you are becoming Gunatita. And the signs and the symptoms have been given in the last slokas of the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, wherein we will coming to the understanding. Okay, how does a person who is Gunatita behaves upon the question by Arjuna? It is being told okay, how he behaves in the society, how he lives in the society. What are his kind of reactions or responses? So that we will keep it for the next class. But here, let us focus on Khechari. Here it is as it is explained, the same things are taking place. The same changes are taking place. In the next 48th one, if we understand, Bhruvor Madhye Shivasthanam Manastatra Viliyate. So the whole mind has become completely laya into the Bhruvor Madhye Shivasthanam, in the Shivasthan. Nyatavyam Tatpadam Turyam Tatra Kalo na Vidyate. Between the two eyebrows, that is the seat of Shiva, it is the place where one will be experiencing the Turiya state. Now, which is the Turiya? The fourth state of consciousness, the supreme state of consciousness. What are the other three? As explained in the Mundaka Upanishad, the great Adi Shankaracharya giving commentary on this very small Upanishad of almost 12 shloka or sutra, I should say. He gives the description on the Jagrut Swapna Sushupti Avastha and says how the Turiya Avastha is the supreme beyond all these three. And here, Swatmaranji says, it is that Turiya state in which the mind merges, and this is to be realized, this is to be experienced. It is beyond the reach of Kala. Now, Kala is something, the time bound body and mind and intellect, which are experiencing the day to day life, the Suryodaya and Suryasta, our aging process, and one day we are born and the other day we are gone. So this is the Kala. And he says, this is the experience which takes you beyond the reach of Kala. Reach of Kala, beyond the reach of the Kala means that means you are overcoming the cycle of birth and death and you are attaining moksha. So this is the beautiful explanation that we are coming across with the explanation of the Khechari. As the note is written here from Kaivaladam, though these things have been said by me, I would really like to read this all for you people. Upanishad speaks of four states of human existence: the waking Jagrut, the dreaming state Swapna, the dreamless sleep, that is Sushupti, and the fourth state of which neither the beginning nor the end is seen, that is Turiya, and which is perfectly indescribable. Perfectly indescribable means you cannot describe that state. It is beyond the reach of the time. Yes, and it is that state when the passing of the time is not perceived at all. We are going beyond the time. We are going beyond the Kala. When the ancient philosophers spoke of conquering death, they meant going into the state which is often becoming one with the absolute consciousness, that is Brahman. By Kala in this context, the literal meaning is going beyond the limitation of space and time, and Brahman is beyond the reach of this same space of and time, that is Kala in the sense. So far, leaving the mortal body coil is concerned, everyone who is born, even the most advanced of the yogis, has to go through it, has to do it. Immortality cannot be acquired by enjoying in this body. If we are experiencing the pleasure and pain of the body, then it is very difficult to come across the immortality. So this explanation has been given by the Kaivaladam publication to make us understand the concept of Kala as explained in the shlok number 48. The next, Abhyaset Kecharim Tavat Yavat Syad Yoga Nidritaha. The Yoga Nidra talk which I was saying, here it comes. If you want, you can underline it in your book itself. Okay, where is the mention of Yoga Nidra in Hatha Pradipika? Abhyasayat Khecharim. That means in the practice of Khechari, as one is practicing Khechari, you should be into it unless and until you are attaining Yoga Nidra. Now, this Yoga Nidra is nothing but what we have learned before, the state of Turiya being experienced, the state of spreading of that Chandra Strava throughout the body, and the experience of the senses is completely delineated from. So this is nothing but Yoga Nidra. Then what do we understand? Yoga Nidra is a practice which takes you from external aspects of your understanding to a very deep internal understanding. And that's what Swami Satyananda Saraswati of Bihar School of Yoga formulated the Yoga Nidra concept in 4 steps, where he starts from internalization. First, relaxation, then the internalization starts. The internalization starts by into the aspect by making a sankalpa, going from the conscious state of mind into the subconscious state. From the subconscious state, you are so much aloof and out of the external experiences that you are correcting, or you can say the strength of the past impressions is weakened by going deep into it and purifying it. So there is one step known as purification. And that purification is like, an experience of overcoming the compactness of the past karmic impressions, which is making us go through the enjoyment of the fruits, which is making us to go through experience many more karmas. But as here explained in Bhagavad Gita or Yoga Sutra, that we should not be creating any more. Rather, we should experience what we are supposed to go through and just remain null. So all this explanation is telling us that having experienced Khechari and its effect, oh, you are coming in that Yoga Nidra. Samprapta Yoga Nidrasya Kalo Nasti Kadachana. And once you are attaining to this Yoga Nidra, there remains no such thing called as Kala. That means you are going beyond space and time. So the concept of Yoga Nidra is to go beyond the understanding of space and time. That means beyond the understanding of the material aspects of our living and going to the spiritual aspects. That is the main aim and goal. And if we do this practice again and again in the Nyasa, the Tantra Yoga, the practice of Nyasa, Yoga Nidra is one of the practice of Nyasa, where the Sankalpa is made to attain Samadhi. And just by sitting quietly from the external experiences, one goes from the conscious state to the subconscious to the unconscious and try to go beyond it, coming to the state of Turiya. And that is nothing but the experience of the ultimate Nirbija Samadhi, and which is nothing but Yoga Nidra, the state of Yoga Nidra itself. So this is the concept behind Yoga Nidra, which has been given to us like a practical science. And to tell you, friends, the American Psychological Association as well has given the patent to a practice known as I-rest, I in small letter dash REST. And they have patented this practice as a practice taking the person psychologically from his conscious suffering to the subconscious state, correcting the things as our conscious understanding is depending upon the subconscious understanding, and bringing lot of relief in our conscious world. Now this is where something, the concept is taken from Yoga Nidra only. The whole steps are very similar to that of Yoga Nidra as constructed by Swami Satyananda Saraswati. But somewhere this is not with Bihar School of Yoga. Somewhere it is with some other people from the Western side, and they are having patent of this established with them. Our knowledge remains in the book. We are not doing any scientific activity with them and making it happen into the modern world. So this is where the scientific research of practices like Khechari or Brahmari or Shambhavi should be brought about in order to bring about this experience of Yoga Nidra, and we can counter the claims that it is from our text the same thing has been explained, because this text has been coming to us in the 15th century, 14th to 15th century. And the concepts have been explained in Bhagavad Gita, in Yoga Sutra, in Sankhya. All these explanations has been done. So how come you have done the research and patented it for yourself? So these are the things which happen in this world. Anyways, Just to make it note of you people, we are not entering into that kind of ruckus, but we are going ahead into the 50th shloka where it says, Niralamban manah krutva na kinchid api chintayet sa bahye abhyantare vyomni ghatavatishati dhruvam. Making the mind objectless. Of course, being in Yoga Nidra with the practice of Khechari, going beyond the aspects of Guna, our mind has become objectless. One should not think of anything else whatsoever. Then one would certainly stay like a pot with space in it and the pot in the space itself. The pot is here the body. Tavatistati dhruvam. Bahaya abhyantare vyomani. The space is there within the pot, and the pot is existing in the space itself. So the inner space is becoming with the external space. Now, this external space is nothing but the all pervading Brahman and the internal Atman, which has realized that it is not the body, it is not the Indra, it is not the Prana, it is not the other things, the Mahabhutas and all, as beautifully said in the Nirvana Shatakam, as read by the great Adi Shankaracharya. Here we are realizing that Bahaya Abhyantare Vyomani, the space within, is becoming one with the outside. That means, though this body which is residing in this space, now it is having no barrier as such with the space, it has become one with it. That means the internal agency has become one with the external existence of Brahman. So this is the beautiful way of explanation here in Hata Pradipika by Swatmaram Suriji. Here I would like to stop for a while. If anyone has to do some discussion as you are understanding this concept, then we will go ahead with the next shloka. I hope you people are getting the grip of the same as the explanation is happening. Yeah, yeah, we will go ahead. Thank you. So here coming to the 51st shloka. Bahaya vayur yatha lenas tatha madhyo na samshayah स्वस्थाने स्थिरताम इति पवनो मनसा सह बाह्य वायुर यथा. When the external as well as internal life activities are reduced to a minimum, when the overt as well as the covert life activities are reduced to minimum, then undoubtedly both pavana and the mind get concentrated in their own place, and their own place is none other than that of the Brahmarandra. See, now as the intellect has identified its true nature, as in Yoga Sutra in the 4th chapter, the Chitti Shakti identifies itself with the true Swarupa Avastha, the true nature of the self. It says it is Kaivalyam. Now, a person who has attained Kaivalya and still exists in this physical body remains very much as normal as every other individual on this earth. He is nothing like different from others. Of course, internally he is totally different from others. But externally with the body, he exists very similarly. But one should understand that all his external and internal changes due to the gunas have reduced to a minimum or zero. Both pavana as well as the manah has come to pralaya or become merged into the Brahmarandra, that is Sushumna. एवं अभ्यास मानस्य वायुर्मार्गे दिवानिशम अभ्यासाज्जीर्यते वायुर्मनस्तत्रैव लीयते. By the practice of treading the Sushumna path incessantly in this manner, the life activities as well as the mental processes are reduced to the minimum. That means the person is living in the material world, talking with people, interacting with people, but remains completely detached. And these are the one of the signs in that Gunatita, as explained in the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. He remains as normal with the people around him, but at the same time, he is completely merged and connected with the self. Amrutaihi plavad plavayed deha plavayed deham padatalam mastakam सिद्ध्यत्येव महाकायो महाबल पराक्रमः. Fill the whole body from foot to head with nectar. Then, that is by doing this, will be attained excellence of the body and great strength and valor. By continuing doing this khechari, you will find that your body has become so strong that nothing in this material world can harm it or destroy it. That means all the siddhis are attained. In the Yoga Sutra, the third chapter, Vibhuti Yoga, how with the sanyama being done on certain aspects of your existence leads you having control on Bhuta Jaya, Prana Jaya, Udana Jaya, Samana Jaya, all these victories which one attains, it is none but coming to you because of the practice of that internalization, bringing dharana, dhyana, samadhi together. And that's what has been done here. The same aspect with the help of khechari. From the foot to the head, the whole body is filled with that nectar. Now, filling the body with the nectar means not experiencing the body with the material aspects, but experiencing only the spiritual aspect. What is going to be attained is the excellence of the body. That means your body remains in this material world and it is in such a position that it cannot go through the heat, the cold, the aging process, or the destruction, or the pleasure, the pain. Nothing is affecting it. It goes beyond all this. That is what it means. In the 54th shloka, Shakti Madhye Manaha Krutva, Shaktim Manasa Madhya Gam, Manasa Mana Alokya Tad Dhyayet Paramam Padam. हमारे दिन दुनिया के भाषा में परम पद ऐसे कहा जाता है, जब कोई परलोक सिधार जाते हैं तो हम बोलते हैं वो परम पद को सिद्ध हो गए. He has attained the parama pada. Actually speaking, that is not the parama pada. Now here is the explanation. Shakti madhye manaha krutva, merging the mind in the kundalini. Shaktim manasa madhyagam, and the kundali in the mind. Seeing one's mind with one's mind means you are developing that kind of state of witnessing. Just in the morning, we were talking about the state of witness, the onlooker, and the permitter, or you can say the approver. He is just a witness now. Now he says, seeing one's mind with one's own mind, one should meditate only on the supreme state. That means meditating on the supreme state means what? He is just like a witness, just sees the things around, does not get affected by anything. He is the same onlooker, he is the same approver. Kha madhye kuru cha atma anatma madhye cha kham kuru sarvam cha khamayam krutva na kinchid api chintayet. Merging the individual self in the cosmic self, and vice versa, the cosmic self in the individual self. Now the individual self, the body and all, maybe the body structure and all will be constituting of the three gunas, but the three gunas are not affecting the self anymore. The self is not involved in the enjoyment of the three gunas anymore. So here it is said, merging the individual self in the cosmic and the cosmic self in the individual self, seeing the self everywhere, one should not let anything enter one's consciousness. Now one should not allow anything. In fact, nothing will enter because the taste of this experience is so high and elevated, and one can say the feeling or experiencing of the ecstasy is such great that the other states of the material aspects is nothing in front of this taste. That's what is to be understood from this shloka. In the 56th one, Antaha Shunyo Bahihi, Shunya Ha Shunya Kumbha Ivambare, Antaha Purno Bahihi, Purna Purnaha Kumbha Ivarnave. As far as the ordinary consciousness is considered or concerned, there is no consciousness either subjective or objective in the yogi's mind, as there is nothing inside or outside an empty pot. But there is another consciousness with which the yogi is filled as well as surrounded with, like the pot in the ocean. That means the water in the pot and the pot itself in the ocean. That means the consciousness has completely spread itself into the body, and now it has become one with the all pervading consciousness. So the explanation which was given earlier has been given in another words. See, this is how the poetical understanding comes to us, isn't it? And shlokas are nothing but the poetical way of praising and making us understand, okay, what is this state now that you are experiencing? बाह्य चिंता न कर्तव्य तथैव अंतर चिंतनम सर्व चिंता परित्यज्य न किंचित अपि चिंतयेत. Sarva chinta परित्यज्य. Now here one should not worry about anything in the world, nor imagine or think. पहली बात तो होगा ही नहीं, but still one should not. Abandoning all the worries, he should imagine or think of nothing. There won't be any worries as such, but still he says that you will find that if you are connected to still some kind of worries, then understand that you have not attained the state. You have to disconnect with those worries also, and one should imagine that there is the state which I am thinking about, which is nothing. So, Atmaram Suriji trying to explain this state of Nirbija Samadhi, this state of experience of Kaivalyam, or this state of the ultimate experience of oneness with Brahman, in his own poetical words. As far as he is trying to convince, we just go ahead and read it. But it is the same explanation with the same meaning, trying to make us understand again and again. संकल्प मात्र कलनैव जगत समग्रम, संकल्प मात्र कलनैव मनोविलासः, संकल्प मात्रम अतिमृत्सृज निर्विकल्प माश्रित्य निश्चयम व आपनुहि Ram Shantim. Now here he is taking the name of Lord Ram. Sankalpa Matra Kalanaiva Jagat Samagram. The entire universe is now something which is coming to us here is Advaita Vedanta. The explanation about the Maya as the projection of Brahman. Brahman Satya Jagat Mithya is the concept of Vedanta, of the Advaita Vedanta. And that Advaita concept is making us understand here as we are experiencing the oneness. The entire universe is a mental construction, and imaginary world too is a mental construction. Sankalpa matra naiva manovilasa. Turning the mind away from that which is mental construction. Sankalpa matra atimutsruja nirvikalpa. Turning the mind away from all that which is mental consciousness. Oh Rama, you can certainly attain peace by dwelling on Nirvikalpa, that is Brahman, who is not a mental construction. So Brahman, which is not with Kalpa, that is Nirvikalpa. Brahman is only Nirvikalpa. And if you are dwelling on Nirvikalpa Brahman, this is something which is not a mental construction. It is beyond the mind. Mashritya Nishchayam va apnuhi Ram Shantim. One will attain the ultimate peace by dwelling in that Utsrutya Nirvikalpa. Sankalpa Matra Utsrutya Nirvikalpa. So there we are coming, the analogies next now. Here making us understand this concept that the whole entire world is nothing but a mental construction. Imaginary world to, yes, Sunil bhai.
But could this verse be drawn from the Yoga Vashishta?
Most probably.
Because suddenly it is mentioning Rama, and the subject matter also is relating to Yoga Vashishta.
Yes, and in the first chapter of this text itself, we read Swatmaramji telling us very clearly, hey, I am presenting this text not only on the teachings of the Nath culture, but also on the teachings of Vashishta Muni Desh. So Munir Bihi, the Munis like Vashishta, their teachings, I am experiencing that and bringing it forth to you. So he is very clear how Hatha Yoga can lead you into that concept of experiencing of Advaita. So Yoga Vashishta is there in this. Uska sanskar zarur hai. And for your information, there is one more Hatha Yogic text which explains about the asana, pranayama, anuloma viloma without kumbhaka is explained in Vashishta Samhita. Other text you will find that anulom vilom, as it is explained, it is having the kumbhak phase, the retention of the breath. But when you read Vashishta Samhita, you will find in Vashishta Samhita the Nadi Shuddhi is without kumbhaka. There is no explanation about retention of the breath. So no doubt Swatmaramji is having that impression of learning from Yoga Vashishta. And now he is going on giving analogies. Karpuram anale yadvat sandhaivam salile yatha tatha sandhaimanam cha manastatve viliyate. Karpuram anale, the way the camphor is burned in the fire. Sandhaivam salile yatha, the way the salt is mixed in the water. In the very similar manner, the mind directs towards Brahman and disappears in it. This is nothing but a Laya Yoga. This is nothing but a Laya. Laya is the merging, the absorption. Laya is a rhythmic flow which leads you into merging with the self. Neyam sarvam pratitam cha jnanam cha mana uchyate. Jnanam nyeyam samam nashtam na anyaha pantha dvitiyakaha. Whatever is known is called as object of knowledge. Whatever is known around in this material world is called the object of knowledge. And having that knowledge is through the mind. The agency through which we absorb such knowledge is known as mind. There is no other way of attaining peace than to abolish the mind itself, so that the knowledge is also abolished and the objects are also gone. यानी मन को ही पूरी तरह से विलीन कर दो, उसका 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 पूरा एब्जॉर्प्शन कर दो in the Brahman in such a way that the mind is through the senses, through the agencies, is not going out. And the concept of manonasha is also in Yoga Vashishta. Chittanasha and manonasha has been nicely explained in Yoga Vashishta in the conversation between Lord Rama and the Vashishta Muni as the teaching and learning is taking place. दोनों के बीच में जो कन्वर्सेशन है उसमें चित्तनाश और मनोनाश की बात की गई है. तो यहाँ पर हमें ये क्लैरिटी मिल जाती है कि वॉट एवर इज नोन is called as the object of knowledge, and that knowledge is nothing but the mind perceiving it. So the mind is observing, grasping, taking note of any object. There is no other way. जब तक आप अपने मन को पूरी तरह से एकदम से निष्फल नहीं कर देते, निष्काम नहीं कर देते, उसको नॉन वर्किंग नहीं कर देते, you are not going to attain peace. This is the statement here. ज्ञानम ज्ञेयम समम नष्टम न अन्यः पंथा द्वितीयक. कोई और चीज को नष्ट नहीं करना है. आपको क्या करना है? अपने मन को ही पूरी तरह से नष्ट कर देना. नष्ट कर देना इन द सेंस merge this mind into the Brahman itself. Yoga Sutra says, today you are understanding that everything is existing outside. But the moment you come to the Swarupa Avastha, you will realize that nothing is outside, but everything is inside. And that everything is nothing but the self, existence of the self. So this has been explained in Yoga Sutra also. Manodrishyam idam sarvam yat kinchit sacharacharam manaso yu unmani bhavad dvaitam na naiva uplabhyate. Everything animate or inanimate is an object as known by the mind through the senses, which is a mental construction, not necessarily the real. That means Jagat Mithya is what he is trying to explain. When mind attains the state of Unmani, the whole Maya is abolished. No duality is experienced. Manaso hyu Unmani bhavat dvaitam, the duality, naiva uplabhyate, it is no more existing, it is no more experienced, it is no more observed. So the state of Unmani is clear here as a condition in which nothing but only the ultimate reality remains, and everything else about the world or beyond the world, everything disappears. What remains is only the true reality, the ultimate reality. ज्ञेय वस्तु परित्याग द्विलयम याति मानसम मनसो विलये जाते kaivalyam vashishyate. Now here the word kaivalya comes into explanation. Where is it? By in this manner, by obliterating the objects of knowledge, the mind which, the manas which disappears in Brahman, and when the manas loses its identity, when manas loses itself to the absolute Brahman, what remains is absolute Brahman only, nothing else remains. So kaivalyam vashishyate, only absolute remains. It is only your identification about the Maya, the illusion, which makes you believe the existence of it. But the moment your mind merges with the self, you are devoid of any such kind of illusion. You are beyond it. So the concept of Advaita coming to us here very well, you can say, as Sunil Bhai was suggesting, whether these are the things which are taken from Yoga Vasishtha, maybe yes, they might be taken from Yoga. Evam nana vidhopayaha samyak swanubhavavan bhavanvitaha samadhi margaha kathitaha purva acharyai mahatmabhihi. These are different modes of efforts proclaimed by the great ancient teachers on the basis of their own experiences as various ways leading to samadhi. See, Swatmaram Suri, I really like this author. He always gives credits to his teachers, to their teachings, to their explanations, and says very clearly, this is how the different modes of efforts proclaimed by the the basis of their own experience. As they have written it down, they have experienced it and written it down. So these are the various ways leading to samadhi. So the way of Shambhavi, the way of Khechari, the way of Yoga Nidra, where the mana is completely getting vilaya into Brahman. All these things have been explained here beautifully. And then we come across the 64th one, Sushamnaihi Kundalanaihi Sudhayai Chandra Janmane Manonmanyai Namastubhyam Mahashaktiyai Chidatmane Sushumnyai Kundalinyai Sudhayai Chandra Janmane. Salutations to Sushumna, salutations to Kundalini, to that ambrosia, Chandra Janmane, which is originating from the moon, Manonmanyai, that is the Unmani Avastha. So, Unmani Avastha is also known as Manonmani. Manonmanyai Namastubhyam. He is saluting to all them. Sushumna, Kundalini, the Strava, the ambrosia getting secreted out of the moon, as well as the state of Unmani. And to the great power, Mahashakti, Chidatmani. That is the Atman, the absolute consciousness, the ultimate power. Having understood this, we are coming to almost 3 concepts of Laya Yoga. One more Laya is going to happen now, and that is Nadanusandhana. Before going ahead and understanding Nadanusandhana, if there is any doubt, any clarification, any question, let us have some discussion on that.
Yeah. So, after Khechari, somehow, then these next, shall we say, 15 odd verses. I mean, what are they trying to convey?
The concept of Yoga Nidra.
Correct. So there is no.
Concept of Yoga Nidra, which is nothing else but the destruction of mind and complete understanding of absolute consciousness attainment, is the whole thing which has been explained until here up to 64, right from that 50th shloka. That is what अभी नेक्स्ट क्लास में जब आशा मैम हमारा भगवत गीता का सेशन लेंगी, maybe we will be doing the 3 gunas, and once we come to the gunatita, the same explanations and the same experiences you will be coming across. In other words,
also, as has been stated in the beginning, that Hatha Yoga is a stepping stone to Raja Yoga. So is it not kind of is it not kind of entering onto Raja Yoga territory here?
In fact, the 4th chapter is the chapter of Samadhi. The 4th chapter is the true chapter concerned with Raja Yoga only. The whole explanation is about Samadhi, and you can understand the experience of Samprajñat Samadhi, going through it, entering into Nirbija Samadhi, that is Asamprajñat Samadhi, is nothing but the experience of the ultimate Raja Yoga. So, and Swatmaramji, in the 1st chapter, again and again, he has emphasized that I am bringing this knowledge in front of you only to take you to Raja Yoga, and that is what he is justifying here. And he says Hatha Yoga is meant for Raja Yoga only. Otherwise, he says in some few shlokas ahead, he will be telling us, if you are not practicing Hatha Yoga with the goal of Raja Yoga in your mind, then please understand that you are doing Hatha Karmana. Hatha Karmana is something like exercise. You are a Hatha Karmi. but you are not a practitioner of Hatha Yoga. So the difference between Hatha Karma and Hatha Yoga, we need to understand very clearly as that shloka is going to come to us in the next few shlokas. So it will be telling us how we should be creating this description, the understanding difference between the two. Where अभी हमारे साथ में क्या हो रहा है? We are actually practicing Hatha Yoga for the sake of the body. The whole world, in fact, I should say. There may be hardly 1% to 10% in the 100% community of yoga practitioners, where the 1% may be practicing for Raja Yoga purpose. Whereas what about the 90 to 99%? They are all practicing with certain means. Today, every other government, in fact, the whole world, in fact, if you go to the scientific researchers, in the last 50 years, see the researchers on yogic results started way back in 1950. Since 50 years, in the last 20 years, the researchers have gone more than 500 times. More than 500 times. If you just see that graph, until 1990, the researchers were to 200%. But now, compared to 1950, to that decade, this 21st century decade is giving us the researchers 500%. यानी जब एक हुआ करता था, उस समय अगर कभी एक रिसर्च हुआ था, तो आज के डेट में वैसे 500 रिसर्च और हुए हैं उसी के ऊपर. Just imagine people studying, and believe me, out of this percentage, only 12% of researches are done in India, and in United States, it is 45%. So 45% plus 12%, slightly, समझो 57% is between these two countries, and 5% you can give per percentage you can give to Australia, to United Kingdom, to Germany regarding researches done on yoga, and the other belongs to the whole world. So just imagine the kind of researches done in order to bring about the changes in the quality of life. So people are doing searches or researches in order to improve the quality of life, overcome the sufferings, make it easy process. How yoga can be utilized in various fields. इसी के ऊपर research हो रहा है. There are very few researchers which say कि what Hatha Pradipika talks about the mind becoming shunya, where the brain waves are coming to 0 megahertz. ऐसा कोई भी research में नहीं बताया गया. There are 2-3 researches done in such manner. One of the research was done in Kaivalya Dham, where it is clearly giving us the brain waves and its strength between 0 to 3 megahertz in the state of samadhi. That means that is the state of samprajñata samadhi. That means the samadhi with bija. That means that person can come out of samadhi and still be connected to the material world. Because we are so much emotionally involved with our various tendencies related to the three gunas, it is very difficult for us to go beyond that. और हमारे researches यहीं तक limit हो गए. तो कैवल्य की स्थिति कैसी होगी? क्या ऐसा भी कोई रिसर्च होगा? बहुत मुश्किल है, क्योंकि जो ऐसा रिसर्च करने जाएगा उसी को कैवल्य प्राप्ति हो जाएगी शायद. Because he will be studying so much that he feels what I am doing, it is a all त्रिगुणात्मक efforts that I am putting in. तेल लगाने गया मेरा PhD, I just want to go beyond. It will be the feeling of that. That itself, and that is Jnana Marg, isn't it? That is Jnana Marg. This is how we understand this.
Correct. So he very clearly says here in verse 60 that there is no other way of attaining peace than to abolish the mind, the knowledge.
Yes.
And so if you want peace, then you have to abolish the mind, the thoughts, everything that you know. So it's basically a matter of experience.
True. The
But
whole
nobody
understand.
to all of us pay attention to the physical. It's true.
See, I have been teaching this text now almost for more than 9 years regularly in the post-graduation class, PG diploma, as well as in MA class, and visiting institutions like Kaivaladham and all to take lectures there. But I have realized one thing. When people ask question as if they are great intellectuals, but their question is related to how it is going to help have control on the material aspect only. There is no questions I have yet experienced. In this case, how we are experiencing, is there any research done on these experiences? Has anyone found out the readings when we say manonasha is taking place, then mind completely destroyed? Where is it? How we can experience that destruction of mind? Is there any equipment which is telling us about it? If a person who is experiencing samprajnat samadhi or asamprajnat samadhi on the course, how that is happening? See, various changes, even the changes in the DNA and RNA have been understood. But at the same time, this aspect nobody has gone into. This thing remains yet to be touched upon. तो कभी कभी साबिर भाई को ऐसा लगता है कि if I would be doing PhD, certainly I would like to go to this thing. But who will become my demonstrator or who will be my subjects to go through this? And that will fail my PhD process itself. This is how it is, friends. How we are understanding the concept, which is leading us that अगर तुमको ये चीज करना है तो तुम दुनिया की परवाह छोड़ो और खुद कर लो. Then only you will attain that. That is how we have to understand it.
See, also, I'm not very familiar with the way yoga research is happening, but the whole premise of modern research, separates the observer from the observed. Right? It's a kind of dispassionate observation of phenomena. Whereas in yoga, the actual laboratory is one's own mind. Right? So how, I mean, will it ever be really possible to truly research yoga at all? Given the current scientific paradigm?
Things are happening. People are thinking, scientists are working. The quantum physics and the science related to that is trying to go beyond these aspects. But still they have not come to this conclusion. Okay, how to do these researches? What are the equipments which can ascertain this? In fact, people have gone to the Himalayas and they have done various researches on the yogis who are meditating. वो सब इलेक्ट्रोड्स उनके पूरे शरीर पे लगा दिया और उनको बोला कि तुम जो करते हो करते रहो, we will check. The machinery at one point stopped functioning or grasping the data or taking the data from that body. That means they say the machine is incapable of understanding what is happening next. So if the machinery is not yet ready to understand that.
But this has happened many years back on founder also, on Sri Yogendra Ji.
Acha.
Just from the West and it had stopped working. This I heard at the Yoga Institute.
Oh, okay.
And when
Because I have read this in Swami Rama's book, Himalayan Masters, and even in autobiography of Yogi, Yoganandji talks about the experiences of his guru and his guru's guru. The ultimate guru is Babaji. He doesn't talk that much of Babaji, but what he has heard about Babaji from his guru, Mahashay Lahiri Maharaj, he is only writing those things in his autobiography. But such kind of explanations and all, if a person other than yoga enthusiast like you and me is reading, what they will say, ये सब बकवास है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है, ऐसा क्या होगा, let us not read this book is फालतू, ऐसा बोलेगा वो. Now this only after going through these teachings from such great teachers that we can understand the importance of doing the sadhana. Ultimately, experiencing of that ultimate knowledge is going beyond the knowledge that we are here. So here we have also come to that shlokana which tells us the experiencing of the mind with the objects that are around you is nothing but knowledge. But now you have to go beyond this knowledge. Very beautifully told by Swatmaranji.
beyond the Kshetra.
Sabir bhai,
Ji,
we will have to also, as Sunil bhai rightly pointed out, we'll have to change the definition of research, because these yogis have done experiments on their own bodies, they have collected their own experiences, and they have put forth this knowledge before us. Not for gaining any material advantage, but to help humanity. So they have worked on themselves, and generations of these yogis have worked on their own bodies without any expectation of material benefits, but just to help mankind.
humanity. Yes, yes.
Just to help the humanity.
Yes, yes.
So
very
that is
good.
another kind that cannot be dismissed as non-research.
Not at all, not at all. That's why
They
we are
have-
reading the text, sir.
Yeah, right. So they have captured very minute things from their own experience, which is not possible for any instrument to capture.
Exactly, exactly.
So I think we'll have to, as Sunil bhai rightly said, there is a Western paradigm of knowledge and science, which is fine. No quarrel with that, because we are all beneficiaries of Western science. Every moment we benefit from Western science. There is no question about that. So there is no dismissing of Western science, but there is also another tradition of gaining knowledge through experimentation with oneself, which hundreds and thousands of generations have collected and kept for us.
And this is a treasure that we all should be always having access to. So said and
Also,
done. Yes, sir.
yeah, no, I think let's continue this in our, the 15 minutes. So let's close the session and then we can.
Sure, sure.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you. So let's first anyway take up the practice in our own kind of sadhana, and then we can move back to the research topic. I hope okay with everybody.
Yes, yes, please.
So, so I want to want to start this time by saying, so on Friday I did Jalneti, and I mean it's something I do usually twice to thrice a week, but I don't know what happened this time. I actually have my sinuses full, and it's very now the head is kind of painful. Maybe I did not notice, but then there may have been some already some collection. Maybe the nostrils were not open enough, and I actually may have made things worse by doing Jalneti.
In fact, you have done Jalaneti after a long time, and body is not used to such kind of irrigation through the nasal passage. So today, when it is going through that, all the mucous membrane around it is under the impact that I have to absorb this fluid, or you can say the flow, and that is where it makes you heavy. But have you practiced the after kriyas after doing Jalaneti? That is
Yeah.
sneezing out.
Huh.
Palabhati.
Yes. So actually, I do it twice a week. So the previous day was Sunday, and then I did Friday. But I feel usually both the nostrils are otherwise open, and this time when I was doing, I found that there was some mucus which was coming out through the during the Jalneti time, and so I said, "Oh, very good, cleansing is taking place." But then almost immediately thereafter, I found first of all in the throat something, and anyways Corona time, so कहीं throat में घबराहट हो जाती है कि क्या हो रहा है. फिर but then इधर में थोड़ा सा कुछ heaviness होने लगी, and now 2 days I'm having a bit of a trouble time. I could hardly sleep last night.
But are you doing? You should continue to do. My suggestion is,
Okay.
even if that is thing, because body has become very much defensive and preventing you to do such kind of acts. So if you do for second day, third day continuously, it will say, okay, yes, it is fine. It has to go through this, because after a long time, if you do, this is the normal reaction from the body, which happens usually. So I would suggest you do it 2 to 3 days continuously. Let
Okay.
this experience be there. But the fourth day onwards, you will find, oh, yeah, everything is fine.
I see. So like right now, I could feel sinuses, as if they are blocked, because exactly in these areas I could feel that kind of pain. So it's okay to continue doing, and these will clear
It's
up.
very much okay. Only thing is that after Kriya, you should let your head be down as you are standing when we do Padhastasana. As your head is down, all the cups of the sinuses will getting emptied, and the
Okay.
secretions will come out from the nose. In that position, try to give Kapalbhati type of strokes, or the Shasana Marga Shuddhi strokes that we give by closing one nostril and the other nostril. So
Okay.
these things will be cleared. The more
Okay.
you do that, the better you will feel. And do it
Fine.
for 2-3 days continuously. You will be fine.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Okay, so that was from my side, the most salient aspect. Others.
The unintended benefit of getting up in the morning at 5 o'clock for our morning session was experienced on Thursday, because as I was about to connect, the bell rang and my neighbor rushed in saying that her husband, who is 77 years old, had fainted and was unconscious. So then I rushed there, and of course, later on, I put the message that there is a next door emergency. So I could not join. And then, of course, we helped him with some water and sugar. I think his sugar had gone down. And then we took him to the nearest hospital. So I missed the session. And then I realized, after I looked at the WhatsApp messages, that Sabir Bhai also did not have the power on that day. So the session, I think, did not take place. So that was one experience. And the neighbor said that because I saw the light was on, I could feel free to press the bell.
No.
Yeah. Mm. So that was one experience which I had. Otherwise, I have been regular. And Saturday, I was a lone student with Jaykumar ji, and that class was also nice so far as pranayam is concerned. And I was discussing with Sunil Bhai that out of the 7 days, out of the 6 days, one day we should now start doing on our own so that we know where we stand. So that was the one thought that I had.
Very nice. We in our society are having this issue related to the power failure since very frequently in the last 3 to 4 months because of constructions going on beside the plots, and that is making the things worse for us. Many a times we are dependent the whole night on the inverter, and by the time it is in the morning, the inverter also is not functional. So that point of time we can't help. Even if the laptop is charged and we can take the class, the darkness is not allowing the other person to see us. How we can go ahead with that? So somehow we have to, and this has happened twice in this last 2-3 months. I think this is the second time it happened. The thing was not happening. This is how it is. Can't help it. Sometimes the situation doesn't allow you to go ahead. And maybe ऐसा भी हो सकता है आशुतोष सर कि if the class was still going on, you might not have given your that much attention to your neighbor, but you preferred to be more dedicated there than to the class, and that helped. And then you later on realized that the class was not there. So class was not happening in a it was like a blessing in disguise to give your more attention to your neighbor there. We can take it that way, a positive effect.
No, but Thursday
Very
we
true.
still had the class, I think. Jaykumar, you took the class, no?
On Saturday, right?
No, Thursday.
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 Because I don't think there has been any occasion whatsoever during these last almost 4 months that when we have not had a class. There have been many occasions where there's only one student, right? But by God's grace, I think there's never been a time when the class was not held.
And Saturday only one student, a good student.
Yeah.
For me, it is not 4 months, sir. It is 6 months now, almost. Because I started with
Yes.
Jaykumar ji in September.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Correct.
And I noticed that I have lost 2-3 kgs, but I don't feel weak at all. From I think 81, I have come down to 78 kgs now.
Sir, I have exactly the same experience too. So yesterday only, one friend of Aarti had come and she was telling me, "अरे आप तो weak हो गए." मैंने कहा रुको, अभी मैं आपको जरा कपालभाति करके दिखाऊंगा, अगर दिखा सकूंगा तो आप realize करोगे कि weak भले fat कम हो गया है, but in terms of strength,